Good day! This is Teacher Rowan. I'll be your guide in exploring Google Apps for education, for teaching and learning. In Google for Education, teachers can connect and collaborate easily while staying on task. It gives teachers the freedom to spend more time personalizing the learning experience and less time managing it. Students can learn essential skills such as 21st century problem solving, which they can use it in their future careers. As such, the accessibility features will also help and assist every learner to do their best work. Google offers different useful applications that we can use to connect education to technology. This will help our teachers as a 21st century educators to innovate and find ways on how to make teaching and learning more exciting, engaging, effective, and flexible to the demands of the society. Let's re-explore the education experience by discovering new angles to create, collaborate, and communicate as one. Para sa bata, para sa bayan, at para sa guro. Ang pagkatuto, huwag gawing komplikado. Sulong edukalidad.
Magandang araw, Sir Wilbur po, at your service. Narito ang ETUlay upang gabayan ka sa inyong pag-aaral upang lubos na maunawaan ang iba't ibang paksa o subject. Ang ETUlay ay isang free online tutorial class na pinangungunahan ng ICT's Educational Technology Unit sa pamumuno ni Undersecretary Elaine Del B. Pascua. Ang programang ito ay hindi lamang para sa mga bata, kundi ito rin ay magsisilbing gabay sa mga magulang at mga guro kung paano nila ituturo o gagabayan sa bawat asignatura ang kanilang mga anak o mga estudyante. Sa kasalukuyan, ang self-learning module mula sa rehiyon ng Calabarzon at kilala sa tawag na pivot ang ginagamit sa ating ETUlay online class. Kaya ano pang hinihintay ninyo? Ihanda na ang inyong mga ballpen o lapis, papel o kwaderno at samahan kaming itulay ang pagkatuto para sa bawat batang Pilipino. Sama-sama tayong magtutulungan para malampasan ang mga hamon sa panahong ito. Halina't matuto kasama ang inyong online tutor sa oras na ito.
Magandang hapon po sa ating mga nanonood ngayon sa ating ETUlay online tutorial ngayong Biyernes Matalino Friday for Mathematics number 5. Ayan, for grade 5. Pero syempre kahit na ang topic natin ay for grade 5, open ang ating lessons for every grade level, lalo na kung gusto nyo talagang matutunan yung mga konsepto na, in this case, probability yung lesson kasi natin. And yung probability na ito, makikita din natin siya sa iba pang grade level. Actually, sa grade 6, matututunan ulit natin yung probability. Pagdating natin ng grade 8, yung last quarter, pagsasamahin natin yung tinatawag na experimental at yung theoretical, tsaka kukunin natin yung simple probability na tinatawag. Pero again, dahil ngayon kaalaman natin, patuloy na lang na nagdadagdag at hindi naman umiikot, no? Pero ayun nga, nauulit siya for all grade levels. Maganda na meron tayo babalik-balikan para matutunan, mapag-aralan yung mga topics natin in the previous lessons. Ayan, so good afternoon kay Gracial Joyce Butiyo ng Lumban Central Elementary School. Good afternoon din kay Kevin Neil Andres ng Francisco Felix Elementary School ng Cainta Rizal, grade 5 Moriones daw. And Jane Erica Galang ng SDO Bacoor ng Siniguelesan Elementary School. Good afternoon po sa ating lahat na kahit na year-end na tayo, no, nasa huling linggo na tayo ng hindi lang quarter 4, pati na rin ng school year 2020-2021, hindi kayo bumibitaw. At syempre, bilang inyong online tutors, hindi rin namin kayo bibitawan sa pagpapaunlak at pagbibigay ng kaalaman, hindi lang sa matematika, sa lahat ng subjects. At tulad doon sinabi kanina ni Ma'am Rowie or ni Mami Weng, may mga applications tayo na pwede nyo matutunan na handle ng ating Educational Technology Unit na magkakaroon ng seminars or webinars na pwede nating magamit sa ating pag-aaral. Hindi man ngayon, yung skills ay madedevelop natin sa susunod hanggang actually continuous learning lang tayo. Kaya hi kay Vanessa Alimurong daw. Good afternoon. Okay. So ngayon, dahil hindi tayo nakapag-meet ng nakaraan, sana nabalikan natin yung mga lessons natin for experimental probability dahil ngayon gagamitin natin siya sa word problems. Kasi nga, ano bang use, ano bang gamit ng mga konsepto na natututunan natin sa mathematics kung hindi sa mga word problems or actually scenarios na talagang magagamit natin yung mga konsepto ng matematika or sipnayan. Okay? So for this topic or for this day or session, we will analyze data obtained from chance using experiments involving letter cards. And actually, yung number cards natin, halos kapareho lang yung konsepto ng letter cards. Okay? Tapos, we will solve routine and non-routine problems involving experimental probability. Okay, so differentiate muna natin ulit kung ano yung routine at non-routine. Kasi actually, kahit nga grade 2, merong ganitong objectives. Pero baka hindi niyo napapansin na routine problem na pala ito, tapos yung isa non-routine. Usually, when we say routine, ito yung mga kasunod na katanungan or problems kapag inaaral natin yung isang lesson. Yung madalas nating makita, kaya nga siya natawag na routine. Madalas nating makita at yung konsepto, talagang kung paano siya naituro, minsan ganun din siya isosolve. When we say non-routine problems, okay, these are problems na hindi ganun ka-obvious yung solution. So for example, pag sinabing what is the sum of 2 plus 2, itatranslate lang natin siya, masasagutan natin siya agad-agad. When we have non-routine, magko-conceptualize tayo na iba't ibang paraan para makuha natin yung sagot. Pero gagamitin natin yung basic concepts, operations, and lessons in mathematics na napag-aralan din natin. Again, hindi siya ganun ka-obvious, pero alam kung makukuha natin yung sagot basta ma-apply natin yung natutunan natin. Yan, good afternoon, Alexis Jane Baragula and Crishalyn Laksinan ng Davao West District School Division of Pampanga. So balikan natin yung experimental probability na mabilis. Kasi yung probability, or ito yung tsansa, or amount of chance that an event may happen. Pwedeng may not happen. Pwedeng mangyari or pwedeng hindi mangyari. It could be written as a ratio. Pag sabi natin ratio, ito yung merong colon or yung merong 2 na napag-aralan natin nung third quarter. At mababalikan niyo yan panigurado, third quarter ulit ng grade 6 school year ninyo. Then next, pwede siyang isulat as a fraction kasi di ba yung ratio, pwede natin siyang isulat as fraction and decimals. Kaya lang, ang pinagkaiba niya, sa ratio kasi, pwedeng mas malaki yung nasa unahan kaysa dun sa nasa huli. Kapag yung fraction ganun, mas malaki yung numerator, mas maliit yung denominator, improper fraction na siya. Okay? At kapag ang decimal lumagpas na sa 1, or mas malaki na sa 1, may decimals pa rin siya, let's say 1.01. Okay? Pwede pa rin yun. Pero in probability, ang criteria lang is the value can range from 0 to 1. Ang pinakamababang pwede ay 0. Ang pinakamataas na pwede ay 1. So hindi pwedeng lumabis, hindi rin pwedeng bumaba pa ng 0. Okay? So kapag yan ay 1/2, pwede pa. Pero kapag yan ay 1.1, hindi na pwede kasi nga mas mataas na siya. Yung ibang books ang sinasabi between. Kaya lang kailangan natin mag-ingat. sa math kasi meron din tinatawag na betweenness. At yung definition ng betweenness ay nakadepende doon sa topic pa din. Sabi natin between yung nasa pagitan, hindi kasama yung dulo. Pag sabi natin between 0 to 1, may pagkakataon na hindi sila kasama. So pinaka-safe, from 0 to 1. Kasama si 0 at saka si 1. Okay? And to get the probability of an event, it's the number of favorable outcomes over the total number of possible outcomes. Okay? So, ang pinaka natin dito is magbibilang lang tayo. Magbibilang lang ang gagawin natin. Kaya lang, dahil fraction siya, kailangan tandaan na yung sagot ay naka-lowest term. Pwede nating isulat as decimals. Pero doon na tayo sa madali. Kasi pareho lang naman yung magiging meaning nun. Unless, given sa instruction na ibigay yung decimal value. Okay? So, type of probability we can use is experimental. Meron kasi yan dalawang klase. Experimental and theoretical. Yung experimental is given na yung data. Dahil ginawa na natin yung experiment. Nag-test na tayo, nag-experiment na tayo, and kada experiment may lalabas na results. Okay? May lalabas na results. Sa theoretical, hindi natin ginagawa yung experiment kasi we are sure na if there are equal chances kung posibleng mangyari sa lahat ng pagkakataon yung mga bagay na mangyayari doon sa isang experiment, mako-compute na siya on its own. Okay? Pero when we say experimental probability, ito yung probability na based on facts, based on data, based on tests. Okay? Magkaiba ba sila? Yes, magkaiba, pero there are also similarities. Tulad nga ng sabi ko kanina, no? Ay, nung nakaraan, na kapag dinamihan natin yung experiments, yung experimental probability, lalapit doon sa actual theoretical probability. So yung mga vaccines natin actually ngayon, kino-compute natin yung experimental probability. Pero if we reach a certain number, na sobrang dami kasi paulit yung results, it will become or it will reach the theoretical. And when based on studies, yun na yung pagkukuhanan natin ng data. So, ganoon ka-importante experimental and yung theoretical probability natin. So, let's have some, the definition itself. It's the ratio of the number of outcomes in the specific event kasi nga, it's on the experiment to the total number of trials. Kasi nga, again, dahil sa experiment at inulit-ulit siya, hindi tayo pwedeng magkaroon ng experimental probability na isa lang yung trial. I mean, pwede, kaya lang hindi siya ganun ka-accurate. Kasi, paano kung hindi gumana? So, 0 kagad. So, we need to test it multiple times para ma-check natin yung possible outcomes. Kasi, minimum number of outcomes is 1 or 2. Depende dun sa experiment. Pero again, we need a lot para masabi natin na it will work or it will have a significant value. And then like earlier, ito yung magiging formula niya. It's just a fraction. Sa taas yung favorable o yung gusto nating i-observe. Magkaiba yung favorable sa observable kasi lahat ng test is observable. Pero when we say favorable, yung gusto nating i-observe. Kaya nga siya favorable. And then over the total number of outcomes. The trials rather. Number of experiments. Okay? So yun nga, kapag inulit yung experiment, the experimental probability will get closer to the theoretical. Okay, pero we will have more of that when you reach grade 6 kasi pag-aaralan niyo yung theoretical probability next school year. Okay, so let's have examples. Okay, we have a scenario here. I hope that you could read them. A letter card. Yung letter card from A to Z. So we have 26 kasi we have 26 letters in the English alphabet. Was randomly picked 35 times with results recorded as follows. So napansin nyo, meron tayong 26 cards. Ilan daw yung binunot? Isa. So, kada bunot, ire-record. Pagka-record, babalik yung letter card doon sa bunutan. As 35 times niya inulit. Bakit 35 times? Kasi yun yung sabi sa problem. Pero, take note, when doing experiments, gaya ng sabi ko na nakaraan, yung number of times ng experiment should be greater than the number of possible outcomes. So kung 26 yung letters natin, as much as possible, mas malaki din yung number of trials. Bakit ganon? Kasi there is a possibility na hindi lumabas yung certain outcomes. Paano natin yung i-manage? By increasing the number of trials. Meron mang hindi makuha or mabunot, less likely na. Hindi na ganon kadalas. So in this case, meron tayong letters na hindi nabunot, which are C, I, M, and letter T with 0 frequencies or 0 draws. Tapos yung iba based on the number. Okay? So again, no, technically, pwede na 5 beses lang. Pero when doing experiments or experimental probability as practice, mas marami dun sa number of possible outcomes. So we could have a more accurate measurement. Okay? So scenario pa lang ito, wala pa yung question. So let's have the first question. Based on the recorded results, what is the experimental probability of getting a B letter card? So we have 26 letters from A to Z. Ang tanong, ano yung experimental probability that we had B out of the 35 draws? Kasi nga, di ba, 35 times or 35 na beses tayong bumunot. Pero syempre, binabalik natin yung binunot natin. So the probability is just the number of frequency ni B over the total number of trials. Ilan yung total number of trials? 35. So we could check ilan yung B or ilang beses lumabas si B. That's 2 times. Is that enough? When we talk about probability, the answer should be in fraction as much as possible. Magiging whole number lang siya kapag 0 or 1. Okay? So, kapag B daw, ilang beses? 2. Ilan lahat? 35. Bakit hindi 26? 26 letters yung meron tayo. Tandaan, experimental probability yung ating hinahanap. So, it's the number of trials na meron tayo. And we have 35 trials in all. So the final answer, tama si Jane Erica Galang. Probability is 2/35 or 2 over 35. Okay. So it's very easy kasi nga magbibilang lang tayo. Ang mahirap is, syempre, when we have large values. So doon tayo muna syempre sa madadali. Then later on, we will increase the level of difficulty. Okay? So let's have another letter. In this case, Z. Okay? Ayan, nakahabol si Christian Lacsina with 2 over 35. And si Kevin Neil Pastor. Ayan, very good. So let's have letter Z. Hindi pala letter Z. Experimental probability of getting a Z letter card. Okay, so I'll give you time. Kikwento ko lang muna. Kapag ganito yung questions, Notice, no, medyo may kahabaan. Tapos yung scenario or yung case natin, yung table, ay malalaki. Kasi syempre letter card siya, 26 letters. Pero again, may kahabaan. Bakit may kahabaan? The more, the longer the problem is, the more information it gives. Mas maraming sinasabi yung problem, mas marami tayong data na nagagather. Anong kagandahan nun? Kapag mas marami tayong information na na i-ensure natin, nasisigurado natin kung ano yung kailangan doon sa problem. Kasi mamaya, maikli nga yung problem, kaya lang kulang. So, mas maganda na yung medyo may kahabaan, pero kompleto yung information. So, ayan. So, what's the answer? To get the experimental probability, favorable outcomes muna ang bibilangin. So, aling outcomes ang bibilangin? Ano yung favorable? Yung gusto nating i-observe, which is the Z letter card. And dahil it appeared one time, or the frequency is 1, the answer is 1 over 35, or 1/35 of the set. So, ayan, nakatama ulit si Jane Erica Galang, si Crishalyn Laksina with Gracial Joyce Butillo and Kevin Pastor. Okay. So, yun lang tatandaan. We will just count the number of favorable outcomes. Dahil simple events pa lang naman ito, hindi tayo ganong mahihirapan. Paano kung ganito yung question? Based on the recorded results, what is the experimental probability of getting a vowel letter card? Hindi na ako nag-specific ng letter. Tulad kanina, B and Z. Ngayon daw ang gusto niya is vowel. So it's still the same, favorable outcomes over trials. So we have 35 trials. Ano yung favorable outcomes na ating bibilangin? Based on the problem, it's vowels. Ilan yung vowels natin? We have 5. We have A, we have E, we have I, we have O, and we have U. Pero dahil kahit na 5 yung vowel natin, ano yung bibilangin natin na numbers or values? Ang bibilangin natin is not the vowels themselves. Ang bibilangin natin yung number corresponding to them. Okay? Or the frequency. So, si A, isang beses daw lumabas. Si E, 2 beses. So, dyan pa lang, may idea na tayo kung ilan lahat. 5 yung vowels, yes. Pero ilang beses lumabas yung mga vowels. Yun yung pinaka-question. Okay? I occurred 0 times. Ibig sabihin, lahat ng bunot na 35, hindi lumabas yung I. Yung O, it's also 1. And yung U, also 1. So, paano natin masosolve yan? We have 1, 2, 0, 1, 1. Ang sabi lahat daw ng vowel. So, we just going to add. So, 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1, that would be 5 over 35. Kaya lang, tandaan, when we deal with fractions, final answers, as practice, must be written in lowest terms. Kasi kapag multiple choice yan, tapos hindi nyo makita yung sagot nyo, baka bigla kayong kabahan. So, as practice, dagdagan nyo yung solution nyo. Okay lang na sobra. Basta sigurado. So, in this case, si Chino Jamie Samonte, he got the correct answer as 1 over 7. Tama pa rin naman yung 5 over 35. Pero again, as practice, we're dealing with fractions and ratio. Tinuro naman natin nung grade 4, I think. Grade 4, nag-simplify na tayo ng fractions. Nung third quarter ng grade 5, nagsisimplify tayo ng ratio. So, I know that you have the power to do that. Alam niyo yung knowledge doon. Huhukayin lang natin ang huhukayin. Uulitin kung kailangan. Okay? So, ganun siya kapag letter cards. Pag consonant, bibilangin niyo yung consonants. Kapag numbers naman, ganoon pa din. You will count the number of times they occur. Ilang beses siya umulit. Hindi yung ilan yung hinahanap. Okay, dito nagkataon lang na 5 rin yung vowel, 5 beses siya lumabas. Pag numbers, you could deal with even numbers, odd numbers, prime and composite, maraming combinations. So there are so many things to explore. And dahil experimental siya, you could do it on your own. Na gagawa lang kayo ng bunutan, 1 to 20 kunwari, bubunot lang kayo ng ating experiments. Tapos bibilangin nyo kung ilan yung mga outcomes. So, ganoon lang siya kadali. Ngayon, again, tulad na sabi ko kanina, mahirap siya kapag large numbers na yung pinag-uusapan. So, let's read the problem. Ayan, humabol si Krishalyn for the final answer na 1/7. Okay, so let's read the problem. Kasi nga, when dealing with these types of problems, asahan nyo na medyo mahaba, we need the proper comprehension or pagkakaintindi dun sa ating statements. So, a pharmaceutical company is developing a new vaccine for a certain flu. So, parang medyo real-life scenario natin to. 3 clinical studies was performed to test the vaccine's effectiveness. Each study involves 250 volunteers. The results of the studies are shown in the table. We have study 1 with 189, study 2 with 237, and study 3 with 226. Ngayon, sila daw yung mga hindi nagkasakit for 6 months. And tandaan na, based on the problem, each study involves 250 volunteers. So it has a specific number. Okay? The question is, what is the experimental probability that the vaccine was successful for the second study? Okay? So sa second study daw tayo titingin. So we have a number, 237. Kaya lang, is that enough na yun na yung sagot, 237? Take note of the question. What is the experimental probability that the vaccine was successful for the second study? When we have probability, hindi dapat lumagpas sa 1 yung ating final answer. Okay? Yung sa probability. Okay? Is something. Okay, yan. So, ang titingnan natin is dapat una fraction yung sagot or may fraction. Pangalawa, kung ano lang yung involved na kailangan natin makita. Ang tanong is about the second study lang. Alam natin sa second study, and each study, in fact, involves 250 volunteers each. So sa study 1 may 250, 189 yung hindi nagkasakit. Sa study 2, ganoon din. 250 yung tinest, tapos 237 ang hindi nagkasakit. So the experimental probability we'll just deal with is study 2. Ayan. Okay. So we have here 237 over 250. Okay, bakit 250 lang? Bakit hindi 750? Kasi ang tanong is second study. Okay? So kung ano lang yung given sa question, kung ano lang yung given sa problem, make it a habit that you analyze each question para hindi tayo nagkakamali. Kasi mamaya, masyado kayong advance mag-isip, kailangan hinay-hinay lang at intindihin talaga natin kung ano lang yung tinatanong. Okay? So let's have the next one. What is the experimental probability that the vaccine was not successful for the third study? Banggitin ko pala yung mga nakatama, no? Marami naman si Krishalyn, si Graciel, si Vanessa, and kanina ang una si Jamie and si Jane. Ayan, 237 over 250. Ngayon, ang tanong is not successful sa third study. Kanina, ang sabi yung hindi nagkasakit. Kasi nga, yun ang success eh. Pag nagkasakit ka, tapos vaccinated ka naman, successful ba siya? So, we take considerations. Okay? So, dito yung mga nagkasakit daw within 6 months. So, ang gagawin natin is i-manipulate na natin. Ito na yung sinasabi ko na we need additional information, operation, and additional concept to solve this problem. So, paghahaluin na natin yung ideas natin. So, ang sabi ni Jane, third study minus the not successful. Hindi pala minus ito, no? Pero the idea is there. Magsusubtract tayo ng values. Ano yung susubtract natin? Titingnan muna natin yung third study. Ilan yung hindi nagkasakit? 226. So the question is, ilan yung nagkasakit? How will we get that? We get the difference. So nasabi ko kanina, minus. So it's 250 minus 226 all over 250. We simplify this by subtraction. We'll get 24 over 250. Kapag ito na yung sagot ninyo, it's correct. Pero dahil fraction, we could simplify this by dividing it by 2 over 2, I think. Tama? 2 over 2. Or dividing the numerator and the denominator by 2. Ayan. So we have 12 over 125 with Chino Jaime Samonte getting the correct answer. So tama pa rin naman si 24 over 250. Ulitin ko lang kailangan lang i-take note natin that there are instances na kailangan naka-lowest term or simplest form yung ating sagot. Kasi pag multiple choice, baka hindi siya lumabas, magulat tayo. So practice lang. So we could check episodes ng grade 4 mathematics with Teacher Marian para sa mga ganun lessons para ma-practice tayo in simplifying fractions. Okay. So I think we have another problem. Ito na. This is the last problem for this set. It's the same one. Pero ang sabi, ang question is, what is the experimental probability that the vaccine was successful for all 3 studies? Okay? For all 3 studies. So dahil 3 na sila, kailangan kukunin natin lahat. So kung meron 250 sa bawat isa, kukunin natin lahat. Okay, when we say lahat, anong gagawin natin kapag kukunin natin lahat? Anong operation kaya yung magagamit natin? Okay? Sabi ni Jane, it studies 1, 2, 3. To be more accurate, no, mas madali siya sabihin na all 3 studies kasi when we have numbers like that, pwedeng mag-mean yun ng iba. Pero tama pa rin naman yung yung notation. Iba-iba lang din tayo kasi ng way kung paano natin ipakita yung solution natin. Okay, so may nagsagot 652 or 652. May hahabol pa kaya na iba yung sagot. So paano nakuha yung 652? I-add lang natin. Kasi the question involved is successful for all 3 studies. Yung mga hindi nagkasakit. Dahil hindi naman nagkasakit yung total niya, which is 652, over 750, that's the answer. Tandaan pag probability, dapat less than 1, less than or equal to 1 rather. Hindi lalagpas ng 1. Okay? So pag sagot niya yung 652 lang, that's wrong. Kailangan naka-over 750. Pwede bang i-simplify? Yes, pwedeng i-simplify. How? isa-isahin natin, no? Ang pinaka mababa natin pwedeng ipang divide is 2. 652 divided by 2 is 326. And then 750 divided by 2, that is 375. So that's the fraction. Pwede pa bang i-lowest term yung 326 and 375? Isip kayo, saan siya pwedeng i-divide, saan siya pwedeng i-divide. If you cannot think of any number except for 1, that would be the lowest term. Okay? So, ganun lang kadali mag-solve ng experimental probability. You just need to analyze the problem. Kasi meron nakakalito talagang problem, maraming ibibigay na information, pero hindi lahat gagamitin. Pero actually, mas maganda yon na mas maraming information kasi you could scrutinize everything. Makukuha mo lahat ng kailangan mo kapag marami yung information. Okay? Kesa kulang siya. Final reminder in solving word problems, mag-ingat lagi sa operation. Yung mga carry over, yung mga borrow one, borrow from tens pala, hindi pala borrow one. Borrow from tens or hundreds kapag hindi ma-subtract yung digits. May mga ano pa rin kasi techniques sila na shortcuts in other words, pero if you know the basic kung paano talaga siya nagwo-work, wala kayong ibang poproblemahin. So you just need to practice. Walang masama sa pag-uulit-ulit na para mapabuti yung sarili. Okay, so let's have a self-check in this endeavor. We have analyzed data obtained from chance using experiments involving letter cards. Hindi natin nagawa yung number cards, pero it's just the same. Okay, tatandaan lang natin yung properties nila. Multiples, divisible, odd even, prime composite. Kasi there are so many combinations on that area. Then we also have routine and non-routine problems involving experimental probability. So, na-cover natin yung mga lessons that we have for the fourth quarter. So, kung meron kayong questions or confusions sa ating lessons ng iba't ibang topics for grade 5, kasi magagamit siya for grade 6, pwede nyo balikan yung mga episodes natin sa ETUlay and with our teacher broadcasters for Mathematics 5, si Professor, si Teacher Ike ng Negros Oriental. He has his Mathtastic 5 na inyong pwedeng mapanood sa ating DepEd TV official YouTube channel. Pati rin syempre sa lahat ng TV channels that have DepEd TV in the comfort of your homes. Okay? So as a final culminating experience with all of you, I would like to share awareness in the simplest of things. Dahil bilang estudyante, normal sa atin na makaramdam ng kaba, makaramdam ng takot, or pagwo-wonder na hindi lang actually sa math. There would be instances na mahihirapan tayo. And there is what we call math anxiety. Hindi nyo man ito na-feel ngayon, mamaya ma-feel nyo sa susunod na grade level or sa pagdating nyo ng high school. I hope not na hindi nyo ito ma-encounter. Pero there are people that have this, hindi siya condition, pero they feel this, math anxiety. So if you know people that have difficulties in understanding math, again, it's normal, and we could help them para natin sila i-help. Tandaan, no, ang hindi paggusto sa math and math anxiety are not the same, pero they are acceptable in both scenarios. Maintindihan natin sila. Pero ang kailangan kasi natin is to improve our skills. So, kapag nag-i-improve yung skills natin, nababawasan yung anxiety. Hindi lang in math, pati sa ibang subjects, and actually in kahit sa bahay, yung mga yung mga nangyayari sa bahay. Kapag nag-i-improve lang tayo palagi, nababawasan yung anxiety natin. So, kahit yung magagaling sa math, nagkakaroon pa rin sila ng math anxiety kasi nga, kunwari, hindi nila masolve bigla yung problem. Hindi naman biglaan. Pero, again, it's very evident. It's not uncommon. Makikita nyo siya. But the thing is, we could address. The first thing to do in a problem, observe, di ba? Observe, take note of the information. Para lang siya problem solving. Okay? So, kailangan nyo makita yung root ng problem. So, you could solve it. So maraming types ng math anxiety, yung simpleng pagbibilang ng sukle sa tindahan, yung natatakot magbayad kasi hindi alam kung magkano yung masusukle. Merong ganong cases. Meron din cases na ayaw sumagot kasi sa board, kunwari board work. Ayaw sumagot kasi nga nahihiya siya or natatakot siya magkamali. That is one form of math anxiety. So, we have a study in 1980 na ang math anxiety daw is the panic, the helplessness, or in worst case scenarios, the paralysis, yung pagkahinto, and the mental disorganization that arises among some people when they are required to solve a mathematical problem. Gaano man kahirap, gaano man kadali, natatakot sila, na titigil sila, nagpapanik sila, and dala nila yun hanggang pagtanda. Again, it's normal, pero there are ways to address para mabawasan yung math anxiety. And the best way to address that is to face mathematics. Paano natin ma-face yung mathematics? By studying, by observing. Kung hindi man natin mapag-aralan ng mabilisan, pwedeng mabagal at your own pace. So, as long as you have the capacity and the want to improve, yung kagustuhan nyo talagang matuto at kagustuhan nyo na mag-improve, walang laban yung anxiety na yan sa math. Okay, so ways to combat or malabanan yung math anxiety, again, the simplest of things, mag-relax lang. Mahirap ba mag-relax? Yung iba, syempre, nahihirapan. The easiest thing to do is control your breathing, yung paghinga natin. Yung pagkakaroon ng bilang or pag-count habang humihinga, it could really help. Hindi lang sa hindi lang sa klase, hindi lang sa loob ng school. Okay? Kapag masyado kayong intense yung feeling ninyo, kontrolin niyo yung sarili by short breathing exercises, mahabang inhale and then mahabang exhale. It do miracles. Hindi siya nakaka-relax, nakakakalma. Tapos yung pag-iisip natin, didiretso, lilinaw. Kasi yung natin, yung may outburst tayo eh. Kailangan natin kumalma. So when we have anxiety of any sorts, this is parang yung first aid na ating gagawin. Then we could write down our worries. Tulad nga kanina, when we have a problem, list down all information. If you cannot deal with everything at once, do it one by one. Walang masama doon kung step by step or baby steps natin gagawin. Basta may progress, basta may improvement, yun yung habol talaga natin. Especially when learning math. Then, physical activities na makakapag-control din ng breathing or yung makakapagpalinaw ng inyong isipan. Ayan. Brisk walking. Actually, kahit lakad lang kayo sa loob ng bahay nyo, it could relax actually. Makakapagod kung bibilisan nyo, pero there are other ways din naman. Excuse. Next is changing the mindset to what we call growth mindset. Ano ibig sabihin nito? We set goals. Gaano man kalaki yung goal, gaano man kaliit, gaano man kabilis or katagal ma-achieve, at least merong goals and we do, again, necessary steps para ma-achieve yung goals, it could lessen our math anxiety. Kasi nga, we are improving. And when we improve, we have less anxiety. Ito yung medyo mahirap para sa iba, make math fun. Pero I know that there are ways to integrate your interest sa math. Mag-search lang kayo sa internet, kunwari Minecraft and math, makakakita kayo ng programs dealing with that. Magkaroon lang kayo kunwari na kung ang hilig nyo ay cartoons and math, cartoons, pwede kayo mag-search cartoon and math. There are a lot of examples and resources. Hindi lang syempre sa internet, meron din sa mga libro and other resources. Then lastly, have enough time to work on answers. Hindi minamadali yung pag-aaral ng math and any subject. Pero the more you deal with it, the more you have the more you have time to think. Mas relax kasi kapag hindi ka minamadali, syempre. May effect. Malaki yung effect niya. May enjoy nyo actually later on kapag kaya habang nagpapahinga kayo, nagko-compute kayo, there are moments nakaka-achieve kayo ng something in solving word problems in math. Okay? With that, kailangan ko lang ding sabihin na yung math anxiety, it's normal, pero it's not an excuse. Okay? Kahit na meron tayong anxiety in learning something, we have the responsibility to do something with that para ma-improve pa rin tayo. Okay? Hindi natin aayawan yung isang bagay basta-basta nang hindi sinusubukan mag-improve yung sarili. Ayan. And with that, I would like to introduce, kasi last week na natin ngayon, I would like to introduce the next project of ETUlay. Sabay-sabay matuto at maging math talino kasama ang inyong math sayahin, Tutor Arlene, at ang mahusay na si Tutor Mark sa math remediation. And actually, magtuturo din sila ng techniques, I think, for elementary mathematics, for mga techniques in operations, techniques in transformation ng numbers, fraction, decimal, etc. Ayan. And pwede nyo balik-balikan yung mga math remediation classes din ni Tutor Mark and yung ating iba pang math tutors for other grade levels. And then, if you want more, you could also introduce other programs na ating i-offer for the ETUlay Summer Camp sa inyong teachers, sa inyong classmates, and syempre sa inyong mga magulang para lalo kayo matulungan for the next school year. Ayan, thank you daw, sabi ni Dan Ivan Pingal Giraldo. And actually, kami ang dapat magpasalamat sa inyo from all your ETUlay tutors and the Educational Technology Unit for this project. Kami ang dapat magpasalamat kasi kung wala kayo, hindi namin maibibigay syempre yung kailangan din ninyo. Okay? So, thank you po. Maraming salamat sa pagsuporta at kasama namin kayong matapos itong school year na ito. Ang ETUlay po ay hindi matatapos, tuloy-tuloy lamang ito hanggat may batang kailangan matuto for all the education vision and mission na kailangan natin for the Philippines. Ayan. So, samahan nyo lang po kami. Every week pa din tayo sa ETUlay. Iba-ibang programs na po ang i-offer namin for this summer. And I think ibibigay po namin yung mga programs na yun bukas. So abangan po natin sa mga natin, no, sa ibang programs nga na ating masasama for the ETUlay Summer Camp. Okay? With that, thank you. Thank you sa inyo lahat. Magandang hapon and congratulations for for moving up to your grade 6 school year. Good afternoon and thank you.
Hello teachers, learners, and parents. Sir Jeff po, at your service. Alam nyo ba na meron tayong website na tinatawag na DepEd Commons? Ang DepEd Commons ay binuo upang gawing accessible ang pagtuturo at pag-aaral dito sa ating bansa gamit lamang ang inyong mga smart devices gaya ng cellphones, tablets, at computers. Dito ay maaari nating ma-access ang iba't ibang learning materials mula sa Department of Education. Meron itong mga interactive materials, electronic self-learning modules, at instructional video lessons mula sa DepEd TV na tiyak na makatutulong sa pag-aaral ng mga mag-aaral galing ka man sa public o private school. Walang problema dahil welcome ang lahat dito. Para ito sa mga guro, magulang at mga mag-aaral mula sa kinder hanggang grade 12, alternative learning system o ALS, at pati na rin ang special education. At huwag kang mag-alala dahil kahit walang load ay maaari mong ma-access ang mga learning materials. Tama! Libre ito. Ang kailangan mo lamang gawin ay i-on ang iyong data at buksan lamang ang iyong browser at i-type ang commons.deped.gov.ph. Alam na ba ng iyong mga kasamahang guro o mag-aral ang tungkol sa DepEd Commons? I-share mo na ang video na ito upang matuto rin sila kung paano gagamitin ang DepEd Commons sa mabilis at napakadaling paraan. Muli, ito po si Sir Jeff at kita-kits po tayo sa DepEd Commons. Paalam!